So the Rings of Power showrunners have finally admitted defeat. They have finally acknowledged that the fans are in uproar because of the product that they produced. And in this article, they talk about how they're going to redirect season 2, make it a little bit more about lore, make it a little bit more canonical, and actually appease the fans that they have offended so badly. Now, is that going to happen? Is this what this article says? Absolutely not, because these showrunners are egotistical, mentally ill people that absolutely and utterly give you something in one hand and take it away in the other. We're going to get into it in this article. If you could hit subscribe and share, I'd really appreciate that. And also, we're going to hear of some of the craziest analogies that these showrunners make in another article comparing their first season of Rings of Power to some insane movies and insane TV shows that these should not even be mentioned in the same breath. We'll get into that in a minute. First, we'll look at this article. In an interview with Vanity Fair, showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay made it clear that criticisms were heard and will have an impact on later seasons. Certainly, you look at the audience response and you see what characters people love and what kind of storytelling moves them. I wouldn't say we're overcorrecting any of it, but we're certainly listening to people's responses. So right off the bat, you can tell what these showrunners think of the fans' criticisms. They don't think much, because they just appeased the fans by even bringing it up, and then they proceeded to say, listen, well, we're kind of just going to proceed the way we were anyway. Payne has also stated that filming of season 2 has already begun. The script is largely locked down, as to be expected, but more subtle changes can still be implemented. He goes on to say, in terms of how it impacted season 2, we wrote most of season 2 before season 1 came out. We're refining the last bits of it now as we're starting to shoot, but really the cake has already been baked before the audience response came in. So the title of this article and what the showrunners are telling the fans is that we've heard your criticisms and it has impacted the way we're going to proceed with season 2. And then as this interview unfolds, he pretty much just says, yeah, no, none of that's going to happen because we already have the script locked down. So why say it? Again, this is to hoodwink the fans. 100%. These guys don't care about what the fans think about this show. They're going to proceed as before. Simple as that. And in the aftermath of the dismal ratings that were nosediving from episode to episode, no one was interested in this show. No one was watching this show. And in the aftermath of that, we had rumors that these showrunners were gonna be replaced. Them rumors are all over the internet, and all of a sudden we started getting little tidbits of, yeah, we're gonna return to canon, we're gonna return to lore a bit more, we're gonna be a little bit more truer to Tolkien's vision. This was all garbage, this was all bullshit, and it's right here in front of you. In some ways, the audience responses were a year ahead because we saw it a year ago, and we were like, here's what's really seeming to work, and here's what maybe not working as well as we might have hoped for and thought it would. This is so egotistical and narcissistic that they're looking at the ratings and the statistics that have come in and the criticism from fans. Widespread across the board, people hated this thing, and they're saying, yeah, well, we kind of spotted it ourselves a year ago. Well, why didn't you redirect it then? Why didn't you rectify it then? Why are you even mentioning it now that you had already seen it a year ago and we were deciding what was going to work and what wasn't going to work? What's up with you? And here's the most hypocritical part of the entire interview. He summarized the showrunner's position about correcting the course based on the audience feedback in this way. So to the extent that there's a course correction, it's just us building on the strengths of the show and on the strengths of the actors and our designers. So basically, any criticisms that were directed towards this show, we took it on board for the sake of this interview, for the headline, and to get it out there into the ether that we were going to make a redirection and a return to canon. But we're absolutely going to do none of that. We're just going to ignore every single bit of it and continue as we have been in season 1. And the author of this article goes on to say, at very least, it means the showrunners are aware that their show is heavily criticized. Is that it? Is that your article? Is that all you could do? After that pathetic interview, that's all you can come up with? At very least, they know. They're not going to do anything about it, but now they know. They knew already. It was widespread from word go. Episode 1 and 2, people knew straight away, okay, this is a trash fire, we're out. But these guys are so self-indulgent and narcissistic that they couldn't help themselves. I'm going to jump over here to this article. Season 1 is focused on Galadriel's story, and now season 2 will center around Sauron. So they're talking about Sauron and the big reveal and the big twist at the end of season 1 that pretty much everybody in the know across the internet knew who Halbrand was going to be in episode 1. Everybody knew it. It was a widespread known fact that he was going to be Sauron. But whilst you were watching it, it was so badly written, you were thinking, okay, they couldn't actually do this, could they? They did. And it was terrible. But here's some of the most insane analogies for the Rings of Power show that you will ever hear in your life. Patrick McKay says, we hope that as we get into season 2, it makes people like season 1 even better because now you're seeing it through a new prism. What? Sauron can now just be Sauron, McKay continued. Like Tony Soprano and Walter White. He's evil, but complexly evil. We feel like we did that in season 1. He's overshadowed everything else. So the first season is like Batman Begins, and the second season is like The Dark Knight. Now that point right there, when I read it the first time, it took me 15 minutes to get up off the ground because I was laughing so hard. You're comparing Halbrand to Walter White and Tony Soprano, and you're comparing The Rings of Power season 1 to The Dark Knight and Batman Begins. There's not really much more I can say after that. These showrunners are an absolute joke. They want people to come back and be on board for season 2 because it's going to be better than season 1. But I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to get worse. Let me know your thoughts down below. I appreciate it. Cheers.